As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. Please sit down.
A reading from Walter Royal Jones, Jr. Mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love.
Once again, welcome to West Shore Unitarian Universalist Church. We are always glad to have you here this morning, and for those of you who are joining us from home. And as always, there is a ton of good stuff happening which you can read about in your order of service, and lots of ways for you to get involved and build community. I am super excited and honored this morning to be serving with my dear friend and former West Shore worship associate, Elizabeth Garanser. Did I say it right? Good, okay. Elizabeth has been a member of West Shore since 2017, where she served as a worship associate for almost 4 years. Born into Catholicism and raised as an evangelical Christian, she now identifies as a pagan Unitarian Universalist. She also facilitates the Paganist group right here at West Shore. Fascinated by the physical and spiritual worlds, Elizabeth loves to learn and glean wisdom from various spiritual paths. Her favorite element is water because of its versatility and its ability to nourish, cleanse, and soothe the body, mind, and soul. She embraces her creativity through artistic endeavors in acrylic painting, writing, floral arranging, various forms of needlework, and cooking. Elizabeth enjoys hearing personal accounts of life stories and believes everyone should have the freedom and ability to create a beautiful, fulfilling, and joyful life for themselves. And I'll just add, if you have ever heard one of her reflections, you are a powerful, powerful human being. So, we're going to enter our greeting time. If you are here for the first or second time and you don't mind raising your hand, would you just raise your hand and let us know? Welcome. All right. Awesome. We got Spider-Man in the front. That's great. And while your children can go to their classes, let's take some time to greet each other. And the greeting time will end with the sound of the bowl.
Good morning. I am Kathy Strasser, and together with Church Business Administrator Debbie Elliott, we are the co-leaders of the Caring and Community Council, one of 5 program councils here at West Shore. With Reverend Anthony's leadership and support, the 5 councils are each nominating 2 volunteers to spotlight during this year. It is our honor and our delight to share with you the Caring and Community Council's first recipient, Danny Dunchuk. Danny joined West Shore in October 2016 and quickly understood that to find a home in a large congregation, he needed to participate in activities where he could meet members, to learn which groups particularly spoke to him, to dive in, and then to give back. His interests are diverse and show a wide range of what's available here to members, and they now include the tech team for Sunday services, including live stream, a connection circle, queer and outlaws group, membership committee, hospitality team, and our November service auction. Wow. The leaders of these groups loudly and gratefully proclaim Danny's reliability, generosity, kindness, and sense of fun. Danny, we celebrate your outstanding dedication and invaluable contributions to our church community with this certificate. Ooh, okay. And oops. With a mug that proclaims deeds, not creeds, and some great chocolates. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. In this spirit of volunteer generosity, the morning offering will now be given and gratefully received.
In earth-based and pagan practice, we traditionally open ritual with the calling of directions, with each direction, east, south, west, and north, representing an element: air, fire, water, earth. In this way, we welcome the spirits of the earth into our worship space. At the end of the service, we will release the directions, allowing them to return to their work in the world. Spirit of the east, spirit of air, of morning and springtime, be with us as the sun rises, in times of beginning, times of planting. Inspire us with a fresh breath of courage as we go forth into new adventures. Hail and welcome.
Spirit of the south, spirit of fire, of noontime and summer, be with us through the heat of the day and help us to be ever growing. Warm us with strength and energy for the work that awaits us. Hail and welcome.
Spirit of the west, spirit of water, of evening and autumn, be with us as the sun sets and help us to enjoy a rich harvest. Flow through us with a cooling, healing quietness and bring us peace. Hail and welcome.
Spirit of the north, spirit of earth, of nighttime and winter, be with us in the darkness, in the time of gestation. Ground us in the wisdom of the changing seasons as we celebrate the spiraling journey of our lives. Hail and welcome.
Samhain is known as the Witches' New Year and is a pagan festival celebrated from October 31st to November 1st, marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. Just as we welcome in the new year of the Gregorian calendar on December 31st and January 1st, with revelry and feasting, so it is with the Witches' New Year. The wheel of the year turns and we transition into a new season. It's a time to prepare for winter by preserving fruits and vegetables we have harvested to tide us over into the next growing season. We harvest apples and grapes and make cider and wine, using the bruised fruit to make something delicious and life-giving. As the weather gets colder, we spend more time in solitude, resting with the earth from the hard work of summer. This is a time to care for and nourish our souls as well as our bodies. We use this time to read books, journal, sleep longer or more often, planning new accomplishments in the spring when the earth is renewed. Pagans believe that the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds thins at this time of year, allowing the spirits of those we have lost to visit us. Remember those dear to you who have transitioned from this life into the next: family, friends, colleagues, pets. Let's take a few moments to recall how our lives have been touched by those who loved us but are no longer with us in body. As they come to mind, thank them for what they have contributed to your life and send them peace and love. I think all Americans are haunted by the coming election. No matter what side we support, we worry about what we may face in the coming weeks and months. Instead of worrying about what might happen, let's all educate ourselves on the facts of the issues in this election. Sift through all information bombarding you in the media and discern the truth for yourself. Then, act upon that truth to the best of your ability by voting for the future you want for yourselves and others. And now all are welcome to come forward to share from the heart in our ritual for all that is our lives. Which in Reverend McCarr's absence will be shared with Kathy Strauser, head of our pastoral care team. Those requesting a ministerial response will be contacted by Reverend Mary Gregolia, our interim minister.
The second reflection this morning has been written by Renee, who prefers only to share her first name, and I am honored to read it on her behalf. Here is Renee's reflection. I have practiced the Celtic path of paganism for the whole of my life. In becoming a pagan UU, I learned that my upbringing was called a trad witch, or traditional witch. To me, it was just how things were. I have been formally studying under the watchful eye of my patron goddess, Flidias, or pronounced Fliash, in Ulster dialect, the protector of the woods and wild things for the past 20 plus years. When Elizabeth called me last week and asked if I would do a reflection for Samhain, I had to answer honestly that to stand up in front of a congregation would be the definition of my worst nightmare. I am fine in small groups, and while I feel completely welcome here at West Shore, and I know logically that I am safe and surrounded by love, my spirit just will not fall for it. Yes, pun intended. In prepping for this, several things popped back into my head that I had long not thought about, but that is the point of a reflection, isn't it? And remember, these are Renee's memories, not Terry's. Samhain was treated like a second New Year's Eve in my house. We typically had Irish soda bread with apple butter for breakfast, and then roasted veggies for dinner later. The house had fall garland, and there were acorns all over. It was my job to find acorns to decorate the house. Mom put them in little dishes all around. The weeks leading up to Samhain were spent prepping, canning, and freezing all the last summer veggies to be used for soups and dinners in the winter. On Halloween, we always had stew or chili for dinner, and without fail, my mother's warm, homemade apple cider. She would peel 3 or 4 of the most perfect apples by hand and take special pride in peeling them in one piece. Then she rolled the peel into little flower shapes and laid them on warm hazelnuts and dried oranges. Once I got older, she tried to teach me how to do it, but I was forever not patient enough, and mine always fell apart. Mom always said, "That's okay. The deer will love them anyway." The peeled apples and a whole bag of cut-up, unpeeled ones were boiled for what seemed like forever. She strained the soft apples through a cheesecloth, getting as much of the juice out as possible. The juice went back into the pot, along with her special recipe of spices that she ground up with a mortar and pestle. She would sing a song that was part English and part Irish while she was making up the cider. The cider and applesauce were some of the last things to do for the season. Once the cider was back on the stove for its final heat up, we went trick-or-treating. Of course, I wanted the sugar rush, stick-to-your-stomach candy, but I also secretly hoped for a few apples and oranges for the deer. Back then, some people still gave out apples and oranges. By the time we got home, the cider was ready, as was the fire in my backyard, set up by my dad or one of my uncles. We would roast marshmallows, drink cider, and roast hazelnuts on the fire. The coolest part was when the hazelnuts popped, it was time to give the deer the apple roses and leftover apple pulp from the cider, along with any apples or oranges I had gotten while trick-or-treating. The biggest thrill was to stay up until midnight, even if it was a school night. At midnight, Mom would tell us to check the window to see if the deer got the fruit or if the fey folk had stolen it. Usually, it was always still there. In the morning, however, it was always gone with a trail leading into the neighbor's yard. Did I ever see the deer take our apple treats? Only once, because I set my alarm clock every hour and would look out my bedroom window checking. I was rewarded with a large male deer munching away on the hazelnuts and apple. Samhain was for family, getting together and celebrating the end of the year before we headed into the cold, dark season. We prepped lots of warm things to keep the chill out and made sure to help the deer get off to a decent start for the cold season, too. Yes, of course, I loved the costumes, trick-or-treating, and the candy, but I don't think I even recall a single Halloween costume. I do remember the food, games, apple cider, and the deer that those apple roses fed that night. This ends the reflection shared by Renee.
Thank you, Renee, for the beautiful reflection you wrote, which was read for us by Terri. It's an example of how Samhain has a long history of traditions that have evolved over time in different cultures and ways. Renee's story of how her family approached the season is so beautiful and life-affirming. Samhain is a season which recognizes the transition of life to death. Aging is a part of that transition. My siblings range in age from 45 to 64, and I myself am 51 years of age. I cannot believe how old I am. I still remember being a kid, and sometimes I think I'm still there. And then I see how my body has changed and life has taken its toll, and I'm grateful for the health I still have, though. In 2018 and 2021, my siblings and I watched our parents die. It's sobering when death hits close to home. I occasionally think of what my life will be like when my siblings are gone, but each of them is so precious to me that I don't want to even imagine it. As I look out at this congregation, I see many heads of gray and white. Throughout my life, I have gravitated toward friendships with those who are older than me. So many of my friends will probably die before I will. I'm reminded of two of my friends who passed this year, namely Joe Schaefer and Ann Osborne. I miss seeing them and talking to them. Their friendship was so precious to me, and I am sad. When we feel the presence or memory of our loved ones more intensely, we may feel overwhelmed, like we're being pulled into heaviness. Finding rituals to honor those whom we have loved and lost is one way to give that energy and those emotions space while not being immobilized by them. We can honor our dead by placing their picture on an altar in our home, or even just on a mantle. Those pictures have captured a part of their soul and can bring us comfort by keeping them near to us. We can also honor those who are no longer with us by simply mentioning their names to a family member or friend of theirs. Tell those who are grieving that they are not alone. Share with them a memory of the deceased which you hold with fondness. It may allow you and the person you're sharing it with to at least smile, if not laugh, dispelling the heaviness of grief for a moment. The longer nights and shorter days during this time can be especially hard for those of us who experience depression. I encourage you to be aware of the struggle being experienced by some of those around you. Take the time to reach out to a friend, whether you know they struggle with depression or not, and remind them that you love them. You can simply send a text or make a phone call. I have a friend here at West Shore who reaches out to me every couple of days to wish me a happy day and ask how I'm doing. That little act of kindness brings me joy. As pagans, we believe strongly that the earth can help us and provide solace. When grief begins to overtake us, or sorrow and loneliness get ahead of our resilience, remember that the earth can take in this energy for us. To do this, you can literally stand by a tree or just plant your feet firmly on the ground. Maybe direct your palms toward the earth and ask her to take in these painful, overwhelming emotions. Not to deny them, but to give them a place to go. Be a vessel and not a container for what can be difficult and heavy. The earth is also able to provide us with renewing energy. So imagine sending those painful emotions into the earth while pulling up renewing energy back into your heart. Lift your face to the sky and imagine the sun if it's a cloudy day here in Cleveland. The sun is shining all the time, even when we can't see it with our physical eyes. Remember that spring and the renewal of the light will come again. There is hope. I want to end by sharing a poem that reminds me that all of life is interconnected, both in this world and in the world of our ancestors. What happens to one affects us all. There is enough of everything to be shared by everyone if we work together and honor each other as we want to be honored. The earth, our mother, demonstrates how we should treat each other and gives us all the resources we need to survive in the months of darkness. A poem by Starhawk. Earth Mother, Star Mother, you who are called by 1,000 names, may all remember we are cells in your body and dance together. You are the grain and the loaf that sustains us each day. And as you are patient with our struggles to learn, so shall we be patient with ourselves and each other. We are radiant light and sacred dark, the balance. You are the embrace that heartens and the freedom beyond fear. Within you we are born, we grow, live, and die. You bring us around the circle to rebirth. Within us you dance forever. We will now complete the service with the release of the directions. Spirits of the north and earth, thank you for being with us today. Hail and farewell.
Spirits of the west and water, thank you for being with us today. Hail and farewell.
Spirits of the south and fire, thank you for being with us today. Hail and farewell.
Spirit of the east and air, thank you for being with us today. Hail and farewell.
Please join me in saying our child's extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again. As Starhawk encouraged us with her poem, let us share love with each other so together we can dance with joy forever. Blessed be